Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Political parties in Barbados make their final pitches to woo voters ahead of general elections. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, May 23. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. In less than 24 hours, about 574 polling stations will open across Barbados for citizens to cast ballots to elect a new government. The estimated 255,833 eligible voters will choose from 135 candidates who are vying for seats in the 30-member parliament. Many of the candidates who are either from the 7 political parties contesting the poll or are running as independents have been hitting the streets in a final attempt to convince voters to give them their X. From Bridgetown, here's CMC's Peter Richards.
The 2 main political parties will stage their last rallies in the capital on Wednesday night, with the message no doubt being get out and vote as early as possible. In his party's last political broadcast on state-owned radio and television, Prime Minister Frundle Stewart defended the stewardship of his administration over the last 5 years, telling Barbadians that difficult situations had required hard choices. Stewart, who is leading the incumbent Democratic Labour Party, the DLP, into the general election, said he has had to navigate a difficult global economic environment, but that despite such a situation, the policies of his administration were now bearing fruit.
The Democratic Labour Party has been open and transparent with you. Difficult times require hard choices. We are nearly out of the woods, but we still have some work to do together. I urge you to reflect deeply on the promises glibly made against the clear realities facing Barbados. Show that your vote and support cannot be bought with tempting goodies of short-term duration. Understand the need for sacrifices necessary to lay the foundation for your children and grandchildren.
But, as it has been the case during the campaign, the leader of the main opposition Barbados Labour Party, Mia Mottley, is not buying the DLP's position of an improving socio-economic environment. While Prime Minister Stewart was delivering his broadcast, the BLP leader was addressing party supporters at Eagle Hall, southeast of the capital, reminding them of the need to reject the DLP that has been in power for the last 10 years.
The rest of our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean know that when they have a strong Barbados, they have a strong Caribbean. And they know that something is wrong. And they can't vote if they're not living here for the 3 years. But they are urging on Bajans to go ahead and make sure Barbados turns back up to the Caribbean to play its part. And it's up to us.
But can Prime Minister Stewart follow his regional colleagues, Keith Mitchell in Grenada and Gaston Brown in Antigua and Barbuda, and be returned to office with a commanding mandate? Peter Wickham is the director of the Caribbean Development Research Services Cadres, a regional pollster.
If you're going to say that the landslides in both of them could be repeated in Barbados, I'm more comfortable with that analysis. But the idea that because Prime Minister Mitchell, Prime Minister Brown were able to retain office, that Prime Minister Stewart will, is not necessarily the case. Because I think if you look at the leaders individually, they're very different people. Prime Minister Stewart is very much of an outlier in relation to the character type of Caribbean prime ministers. He has a type that is similar to perhaps Prime Minister Robin Spencer and Prime Minister before Dr. Mitchell would have come. He has that kind of character, and I don't believe that he is necessarily in either PM Brown or PM Mitchell's category as far as popularity is concerned.
So you say he's not one of those with the charisma?
Yes, so he's more Tillman Thomas than a Keith Mitchell.
So what are Barbadians saying about Thursday's general election? Are they in favor of changing, or will they continue with the Democratic Labour Party?
BLP.
Not sure right now.
For the winner tomorrow.
And for my new leader, first female prime minister, Mayor Amar Martley.
Yeah, he wants to be born for the beach. Nobody about the beach.
But I know that my God is in control, and what he do is well done, and he know the exact leader that he will put there tomorrow.
So the stage is set for Thursday's general election. The question remains, who will emerge victorious? This is Peter Richards for CMC News in Bridgetown, Barbados.
In other news, Trinidad and Tobago's Chief Justice Ivor Archie is planning to go to the Privy Council to challenge a Court of Appeal decision that the country's law association can continue its investigation into misconduct allegations against him. The Court of Appeal on Tuesday overturned the High Court ruling that the law association's probe was unlawful and unconstitutional. Fane Richards of TV6 News reports on the latest development.
The Court of Appeal allowing the Law Association's appeal and agreeing to dismiss Chief Justice Ivor Archie's application for judicial review of the association's investigation. Justice Peter Jamidar reflecting in his written judgment, "For me, this has been a most difficult matter to adjudicate, to sit in judgment of one's own Chief Justice." The ruling means the Law Association is allowed to continue an investigation into alleged misconduct by C.J. Archie. The association was trying to determine whether the CJ's alleged interventions in HDC housing allocations and in judges' private security arrangements warranted his removal. Justice Jamidar explained the thinking behind his decision. He wrote, "So unless what the LATT has undertaken constitutes the offence of scandalizing the court, in this case scandalizing the CJ or his office, or is personally defamatory of the CJ, the Constitution declares that the LATT's fundamental right to express itself and to actively participate in upholding the rule of law permits its investigation and exposure of judicial misconduct. There is no justification for curtailing the LATT's fundamental rights to freedom of thought and expression." Acting Chief Justice Alan Mendonça said nothing in the Legal Profession Act barred the association from investigating. Justice Nolan Barrow concluded that Section 137 of the Constitution protects the Chief Justice from interference by the executive, but does not absolve him from public scrutiny. Justice Barrow also commented on the CJ's silence in the face of grave allegations. He contended, "In my judgment, the nature of these allegations cast serious slurs on the office of the CJ. They required strong and authoritative responses. Nothing of the kind has been forthcoming. When a response was in fact given, it was tepid and inadequate in the extreme. The longer the allegations went undenied, the greater the damage to the office and the greater the negative impact on the administration of justice." As for the Chief Justice's attempt to stymie the investigation, Justice Barrow questioned, "The submissions of the Chief Justice are unduly restrictive of the rights of the public. They bear the hallmarks of an attempt to suppress the facts. If the allegations are false, as the respondent contends, then why stop the inquiry?" Despite the judge's ruling, the Law Association won't be able to restart its investigation right away. The CJ's lawyers want to appeal to the Privy Council. The court will meet next Monday to determine whether it will grant permission for that final appeal. Until that's resolved, the court ordered a temporary freeze on the association's probe.
And still to come in Caribbean Newsline, Grenada deports a Pakistani man considered a national security threat. The details after the break.
Follow your heart to the
32nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27 to July 1st, 2018. Featuring Kester Band, Singer Laundry, Small Axe Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Wack. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Wayne Wonder. Fight, August Alsina, Aishona, Byron Messiah, Dasha, Shaka Dimas, and Pliers, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again. The Caribbean's greatest summer line. Yeah, it's country around the time. 44 is the hair. I know you love it here. Troops and festivities. We love the Caribbean. The all night, no time for sleep. Emancipate with me. Like food and folklore. Culture around the 44. Like food and folklore. Welcome to our island shore. Like food and folklore. Entertainment to die for. Like food and folklore. Culture around the 44.
The Career Development Institute's Caribbean Rising Stars in Beauty competition determines the best and most talented in hair, makeup, nails, or barbering. Win a scholarship and prizes worth more than $5,000. Build your clientele and expand your business. Upload 4 photographs of your best work to our email address. Watch the public vote on our Facebook page. Join the winners at the prestigious Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center for a live finals competition. Email careerdevelopment.institute@yahoo.com. The Career Development Institute, bringing the best in regional beauty together.
Grenada has deported a Pakistani man considered a national security threat. Solicitor General Dwight Hosford disclosed that Mohammed Ihsan was deported last month, but he refused to disclose the nature of the threat that caused him to be kicked out of the country. Ihsan's family operates a restaurant with outlets in Grenada's capital, St. George's, as well as in Grand Anse. He moved to the island about 7 years ago and married a Grenadian woman. He then obtained citizenship through marriage, but reports indicate that that has since been revoked. It was when the Pakistani went to apply for a Grenadian passport that officers conducting due diligence got information that he was a national security threat and denied the application. A war of words has erupted between St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris and opposition leader Dr. Denzil Douglas over the bribery scandal involving a British investor and Caribbean politicians he claimed asked him for expensive items and cash to facilitate deals. Speaking at a town hall meeting on Sunday, the Prime Minister dismissed calls for his resignation in the wake of the allegations that he was one of those politicians. Harris denied any involvement in any business transaction involving British investor Peter Verdi, whose telephone conversations were with his business partner in 2016 were recorded by German authorities, and he insisted that he never offered or took a bribe. The Prime Minister argued that his predecessor was out of order to call for his resignation and described the allegation being made against him as craziness. But in an interview with CMC News, Dr. Douglas was adamant that Harris should follow the lead of Assot Michael, who resigned as Antigua and Barbuda's Trade and Investment Minister last month after Verdi alleged he had asked him for $2 million and a car for his mother.
For the resignation of Prime Minister Harris, we believe that he has tarnished the image of our country, and he deserves, of course, to be given the opportunity to clear his name in any London court when the time arises. And we believe that just as the minister in Antigua did the right thing in resigning in order to be able to clear his name, we believe that the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, who is similarly mentioned in the transcripts and in the judgment, he should resign.
Douglas also asked for the public to be told whether Verdi was granted a Kitts and Nevis diplomatic passport with Prime Minister Harris's knowledge and consent, even though he's not and never was a citizen of the Twin Island Federation. Disaster management officials in Cuba have conducted assimilation exercises as the country prepares for the 2018 Atlantic hurricane season, which begins in a week. The annual exercise took on more meaning for many following the devastation caused by the Category 5 Hurricane Irma in September last year. Richards of Canal Caribe covered the assimilation exercise and files this report.
At the end of this weekend, the popular annual exercise Meteor demonstrated the capacity of the Cubans to prevent and deal with natural or technological disasters, epidemics, and other adversities that could take place in any part of the country. Hurricane season in the Caribbean begins the 1st of June and ends the 30th of November. That's why just before the beginning of this period, throughout all the country, preventive programs are executed in all communities in order to be prepared for earthquakes, hurricane of great intensity, problems like drought or hydrological observation due to significant rain alarms, and dangers of sanitary origin. The President of the Republic of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, took part in practical actions in Havana. Accompanied by authorities of the party and government of the capital city, along with ministers of the Army and of the Interior, Miguel Díaz-Canel checked the tasks being executed to confront dangers of disaster and the reduction of environmental vulnerabilities. The population, as every year, in a massive and well-organized manner, along with the different entities compromised in this objective, played the most important role in these preventive exercises. That's why the last days, whoever visited Cuba could observe the people involved in sanitation and cleansing in residential areas, combined evacuation, rescue and salvage action in the stage of a hypothetical medium-intensity earthquake, and workers guaranteeing the protection of lives and resources of the economy under all circumstances.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, the Sunshine Girls head coach is sticking with the team after all. The details of that story and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
It starts from sunrise, a city filled with an island vibe, music, people, color, friendship, culture, and the warmest of smiles. Come enjoy the unique costumes, pulsating steel pans, exotic culture, exciting fetes, and unforgettable people. Discover Antigua's Carnival, the Caribbean's greatest summer festival, July 27th to August 8th, because the beach really is just the beginning.
Festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again. The Caribbean's greatest summer line, yeah, it's culture all the time. 44 is me here, I know you love it here. Troops and festivities, we love the Caribbean. But all night, no time to sleep, emancipate with we.
The Career Development Institute's Caribbean Rising Stars in Beauty competition determines the best and most talented in hair, makeup, nails, or barbering. Win a scholarship and prizes worth more than $5,000. Build your clientele and expand your business. Upload 4 photographs of your best work to our email address. Watch the public vote on our Facebook page. Join the winners at the prestigious Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center for a live finals competition. Email careerdevelopment.institute@yahoo.com. The Career Development Institute, bringing the best in regional beauty together.
Sasha Gay Henry will continue to lead the Sunshine Girls as head coach following recent clear the air talks with Netball Jamaica. The former national player resigned more than a week ago, but the local governing body said in a statement it had met with her to discuss the matters surrounding the decision and had managed to smooth things over. TVJ's Keon Raynor reports.
President of Netball Jamaica, Dr. Paula Daly Morris, on Friday confirmed with TVJ Sports that the board voted 10-0 not to accept the resignation of co-coach Sasha Gay Henry, who submitted same to the Secretariat last week.
We are not accepting her resignation because we think that there are other routes that we can take, and there are better routes that we can take that would be to the good of the sport.
In a statement to the media on Thursday, Coach Henry indicated that her resignation centered around the personal needs of her family and her increasing concerns about the continuing professional weaknesses in the administration of the sport. And the Netball Jamaica boss says the board has agreed to deal with those weaknesses.
Well, those discussions, whatever other elements to the resignation that were raised in the letter itself will be dealt with. We are willing. Well, we have started that process of talking to her about what she thinks should be the approach and being a lot more inclusive.
TVJ Sports pressed the netball boss for clarity on whether or not Henry has agreed to withdraw her resignation.
And you are 100% secure that Sasha has decided that, hey, I'm no longer resigning, having said the board has said that we are not accepting and so on and so forth.
Well, she's aware of the decision that the decision would be that we wouldn't accept her resignation. As I said, we consulted with her, so she's quite aware of the decision, and as far as I know, she's happy with it.
Henry could not be reached by phone for a reaction to the board not accepting her resignation on Friday.
Trinidad and Tobago senior women's football team got the better of a resilient Dominican squad to win 3-0 in the Caribbean round of the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers on Monday. And Grenada tasted defeat at the hands of the USVI at the Otto Bolden Stadium. TV6's Sergio Dufour has that story.
Janelle Cunningham opened the scoring in the 5th minute, cleaning up a play made from a free kick that could not be cleared by the Dominican defense. Real Belgrave put TNT 2-0 ahead in the 36th minute. The header was just powerful enough to beat the diving keeper. Karen Forbes then rifled another long-range effort from a direct free kick past the goalkeeper Kimberly Eli in the 54th minute. 3-0 the final score. TNT currently leads the group table with 6 points from 2 matches. In the other match, well, it did seem like Grenada was prepared to stop this goal. That's how they fell behind against the U.S. Virgin Islands. The goalkeeping blunders would continue. That's goal number 2, and a push pass to the keeper would end the contest 3-0 in favor of USVI.
Meanwhile, Guyana opened their campaign against Bermuda at the National Stadium on Wednesday evening. The Lady Jaguars will square off in the second match of a doubleheader with Barbados and Suriname, kicking off their campaigns as well. In this report from Isan Griffith, the coaches of the Caribbean nations expressed confidence about qualifying for the World Cup.
Conference this morning, head coach of the national senior women's football team, the Lady Jags, Dr. Ivan Joseph, stated that a strong test awaits Guyana in the group qualifiers, but expressed confidence ahead of the games.
We're excited to be here. Clearly, we're in a tough fight. There's quality competition. Bermuda's in the match. Barbados is in the match. We had a tough game against Suriname. You know, we haven't had a lot of opportunity to prepare, but I'm sure that many of the other programs are in the same spot as we are. We feel like we've got a good team and a talented group that has the right blend and mix of players. and we're looking forward to seeing how the games will play themselves out.
Bermuda is feeling a young squad at the qualifiers, but the management staff believes that the girls will give a good account of themselves.
This is exciting because we want to see what the senior girls can do. As we are in this process that we started in 2016, we have a 7-year process that we're going through in hopes to reach the Women's World Cup in 2023. So this is just another stepping stone in the direction in which we would like to go with women's football across the Caribbean, looking like they're doing the exact same thing so that we can be well represented at the World Cup level as CFU teams and CONCACAF teams.
Suriname is considered one of the more favorite teams to top the group qualifiers. The CONCACAF Caribbean Women's Qualifiers tournament is scheduled to be played from May 23rd to 27th at the National Track and Field Center, Lenora. I will see Suriname, Barbados, Bermuda, and host Guyana contesting the qualifiers.
It's very important that we are here in this tournament because it helps in our overall development of the female program. What has happened in the past 5 to 6 years, we have been lacking in our development stage of our female side of the game. And we're trying our best now to improve that. So we are very, very happy to be here to be representing Barbados in this particular tournament as a World Cup qualifier.
And Guyana welcomes home Golden Boy Troy Doris this week. The American-based athlete secured gold in the triple jump at last month's Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast, Australia. Isan Griffith of Capital News tells us more.
US-based Commonwealth triple jumper, gold medalist Troy Doris arrived in the country late Monday evening and is already making his rounds around the country. This afternoon, the overseas-based Guyanese paid a courtesy call to the mayor of the city, Patricia Chase Green, and councillors as part of his 2-week visit. At the simple ceremony, the mayor presented the gold medalist with a plaque of appreciation. In her short speech, she encouraged Doris to keep winning more medals for his country.
It has been some time since Guyana would have achieved a Commonwealth medal. And as I look to the future, and I'm hoping that you are doing the same, that you are looking at the Olympics in the next 2 years, which is 2020.
The Commonwealth gold medalist was encouraged by the support he continues to receive and promised to keep the country's flag flying high.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Follow your heart to the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27 to July 1st, 2018. Featuring Kester Band, Sizzler Laundry, Small Axe Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Wack. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Wayne Wonder. Spice, August Alsina, Aishona, Byron Messiah, Dasha, Shaka Dimas, and Pliers, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
From sunrise, a city filled with an island vibe, music, people, color, friendship, culture, and the warmest of smiles. Come enjoy the unique costumes, pulsating steel pans, exotic culture, exciting fetes, and unforgettable people. Discover Antigua's Carnival, the Caribbean's greatest summer festival, July 27th to August 8th, because the beach really is just the beginning.
Again, the major developments of this day. Political parties in Barbados make their final pitches to woo voters ahead of general elections. And in sport, Sasha Gay Henry to continue leading the Sunshine Girls as head coach following clear-the-air talks with Netball Jamaica. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to condanews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a very good night.